you guys is another mobile launch platform. This one's pretty special. Now, can you guys read the sign on it? There's a NASA logo, an American flag, and on the left corner, there's another big sign. Exactly, the journey to Mars begins here. So that means this mobile launch platform will be used for Space Launch System. So NASA's new rocket, when we decide to go to Mars, but the timer says 41 hours. We actually have about 31. I enjoy doing launches out there because John gets free dinner, so it's all that matters. Usually I'm the only one that hopes to get scrubbed because that means I get. Before that big tall tower sitting on 39A, it used to be attached to that first mobile launch platform we saw next to the DAB. That tall tower and the platform with the tall tower serve the same purpose. The difference is the rocket, the platform, the crawler just come meet it at the launch pad. The other tower will just bring everything out in one piece. Now, I guarantee I'm the only person on any of our tour buses that will tell you this. At the very top of the fixed service structure, that's what that big tall tower is called, is the last toilet on Earth. The last chance to go to the bathroom before you get on a space shuttle. And there's no doors. Pretty cool, guys. Not every day you get to see an airplane on the SLF. And there it goes. Oh, that's awesome.
At this moment, nothing appears to stand between Apollo 8 and the moon except the sky.
It was a few days before Christmas, 1968, when Apollo 8 sat on the pad. She was the first of a new kind, a moon rocket. This was the Phoenix, risen from the ashes of Apollo 1. The first Apollo crew did not die in vain. This was to be their testament. "36 stories high, she had been fully fueled throughout the night. The liquid oxygen in her tanks caused ice to form on the outside of the craft. The extreme temperature differences between the air and the sub-zero fuel caused the metal skin of the rocket to expand and contract. Everyone was on the pad agreed. It was as though the rocket was alive, breathing, straining at the leash. The minimum safe distance from a Saturn V at liftoff was 3 miles. The reason was simple. When fully fueled, the rocket contained the explosive power of an atomic bomb. As the clock counted down, the astronauts and all of us in launch control went through the pre-flight checks. Our hands on the controls of the most powerful, most complex machine ever built. It had over 2 million separate systems, and to bring these men back alive, everything had to work perfectly. Each individual system had been tested, but what we didn't know was how they would perform when all 2 million began to work together. That moment would come when the countdown clock reached 0. If a maneuvering thruster failed, if communications broke down, if navigation was off by 1 degree, if any piece of the miles of wiring, circuits, relays, or valves was defective, Frank Borman, Jim Hubble, and Bill Anders would pay with their lives. As they sat, waiting for launch on that chill December morning, these 3 astronauts were back to what they had always been, test pilots.
This is launch control, T-minus 3 minutes and counting. We have completed our communications checks with the Apollo 8 astronauts in the cabin, and the communications are go.
We verify principally on to land bar. To land bar, you are cleared for signing me.
During this period, once we do get the firing command, the various tanks within 3 stages of the Saturn V launch vehicle begin to pressurize. We have firing command. Firing command is in. It takes 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Our status board indicates that all aspects are ready. Instrument unit is ready. Spacecraft ready. Final check of the emergency detection system. That ready like also now. First stage preparations are completed.
All systems ready, okay. Keep going. We're on. Ready to go to contact. Stand by, water. Okay, you're on.
All systems go.
T-minus 45 seconds and counting. The first stage, the oxygen tank has been pressurized, and the pressure is still building up. Coming up in 90 seconds, mark T-minus 90 seconds and counting. The Apollo 8 crew standing by, spacecraft commander Frank Borman, Jim Hubble, Bill Anders. We now report that the liquid hydrogen tank on the third stage is pressurized, 1 minute 15 seconds. All third stage propellants pressurized at this time as we go on the 60-second mark on the filter roll. T-minus 60 transfer, and we're now on the flight batteries within the launch vehicle. Finally, there was coming from Frank Borman at this time. Final look at the switch list aboard the spacecraft. 20 seconds, all my steps. We are still below at this time.
8 successfully orbited the moon, and the astronauts returned safely to the Earth. I know. I'm Jim Lovell. I was one of the crew of this spacecraft, Apollo 8. We were the first men to see the surface of the moon from just a few miles away. But it was the hundreds of thousands of men and women who worked in that team, and the millions of people who supported the mission that really made it possible. That way, I guess, we all went to the moon. Now, on the other side of those doors, you'll find an actual Saturn V moon rocket. It's still the most powerful, the most complex machine ever built. And I guess it's the only one that can take you to another planet. I actually got to fly one on a second flight to the moon called Apollo 13. But that's another story.
serious navigation error.
You think they're loaded up long downrange?
At these speeds, 3 seconds long means missing the safe landing zone by 3 miles. Suddenly, the computer starts firing the maneuvering thrusters, jolting the ship back and forth. This has happened in simulations, but never this much, never this violent. The smooth descent is becoming a bumpy ride. Before that is fixed, a problem with the onboard computer. The astronauts have rehearsed for thousands of possible malfunctions, but not this one. It had been considered too unlikely. Seconds seem like hours as everyone struggles to remember the meaning of a 1202 program alarm. The deadline to safely aboard is vanishing fast.
Give us the reading on the 1202 program alarm.
1202 means the Eagle's onboard computer is overloading. This means Houston is blind, unable to make navigation corrections or interpret the data coming from Eagle's computer. Armstrong and Aldrin are on their own. Mission Control decides they can go ahead if the data link doesn't fail again. 1,000 feet, and Neil Armstrong can see that the computer is proposing to put them down at a dangerous place. That landing site is full of boulders. If they land there, they will never take off again. At 350 feet, Armstrong ignores his computer navigation and veers away from the rocky landing site with no time to explain to Mission Control.
Okay, I'll flight control everything good.
In Mission Control, everybody is stunned. At 300 feet, the Eagle has left its flight plan and taken off at full speed across the face of the moon.
Eagle Houston is descent to fuel. Monitor over.
90 seconds of fuel remaining. Now less than 200 feet, and the Eagle is too low to safely abort back into orbit. They call this part of the flight plan Dead Man's Curve.
No level. No level.
All that's left for Mission Control is to read off the fuel remaining in seconds.
60 seconds. 60 seconds.
The entire moon landing has come down to 2 men and 1 minute.
Forward. Forward. Bring feet down, 2.5. And that's 30 seconds. 30 seconds. Lights on. Down 2.5. Forward. Forward. 50. Go down. Mid down. More forward to the right roll. Down 1/2. Contact light. Okay, engine stop. Yes. Tranquility base here. The Eagle has landed. Roger, Tranquility. We copy you on the ground. You got a bunch of guys about to turn blue. We're breathing again. Thanks a lot.
A short time later, history is made again.
Okay, Neil, we can see you coming down the ladder now.
For one incredible moment, we are one people with one history, watching our destiny unfold.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Armstrong is on the moon. Neil Armstrong, 38-year-old American.
It was a moment shared by an entire world.
Dear man from the planet Earth, first set foot upon America, became indeed for all mankind.
With these first steps, mankind stood on the highest ground, and we saw our planet as our home port in the endless ocean of space.
There was something which was surprising to me. That occurred as I was standing on the surface. Just after we had landed, I'd gone down, standing on the surface and looking at planet Earth for the first time. Seeing the beauty, seeing the finiteness of it, the limits of it, and realizing what a shame it was that people were confronting each other on that planet without realizing what it was doing to the planet. It was a very emotional moment for me. I actually shed a couple of tears. Something totally unexpected for an engineer and fighter pilot to be crying quietly up there on the moon.
Mankind had achieved a tenuous foothold in the heavens, and a new and exciting world lay waiting to be explored. The first mission had stayed for only 1 day, but over the next 3.5 years, 5 more Apollo missions visited the moon, and with each one, we stayed longer, roamed further, and discovered more.
I never thought when I was a kid building rockets, in high school, that we would go to the moon, before the end of the century. I mean, I thought that was something that was way in the future, fantasy.
I was rolling on the moon one day in a very month of December. May. Look at the size of that rock. That is the best example we got. Just don't stub your toe.
We've got to understand that as a people, we need to stretch. We need to reach beyond our grasp. We need to strive to do things that seem impossible, because in the accomplishment of them, we move society forward.
Boy, isn't the beauty of this place is just absolutely incredible.
One of the astronauts has said those hills that we climbed give our